Good evening, everybody. My name is Winter Parks. I am the producer behind this simply produced song. This is called This Isn't Love. And the deal with this tune here is just to start off, is I wanted to create a really simple sort of pop song that was sort of taking how I was feeling and put it into words. So, anyway, it's about disillusionment in relationships and blah blah blah, whatever you want to say it's about. And then I found these cool heart-shaped glasses at the dollar store, and I was like, I'm gonna make this my anti-Valentine's Day anthem. So with that being said, without further ado, I'm gonna jump right into the project here. And the deal with this project is it's really simple. It was based on just guitar. I think I started off with our classic Lynn drum machine. So what I have here is I have the D-Gin drum, which looks like this, and we have a lot of different sounds here that are meant to emulate the Lynn drum machine back in the 80s. So that's the vibe there. And as we went forward through the track, we got into some more acoustic-y sounding drums, which for this I just used Drum Lab by Contact. So we have all those things. Those are the drums, those are the backbone. So if we just listen to the drums by themselves. So I like to use a drum bus for everything to add some crunch. This whole thing is pretty crunchy. Um, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and turn off our mastering, which we'll get to that later. But for these drums, maybe I'll leave the one thing back on. So what we have here, just simple boot, cat, boot, cat drum pattern going on here. Um, and that sort of serves as the rhythmic backbone here. And then what I did is I tracked an Ibanez bass on there. So what we will find is the drums and the bass. I have the bass side chained to my kick drum, to both the kick drums, so that we can just have a little bit of room in the lower end there, and have a little bit of space. So it's still punching through, even though, uh, you know, there's a lot going on. So, starting off the track. We spent so much time together. Now, the biggest task for me was, when I first put this song together, I pretty much had everything done with it, and then what ended up happening was it sounded like shit. It sounded terrible. It sounded really bad, and I had two lead vocals. I was super into Nick Hakim at the time, and what he does production wise is he goes and he takes both his lead vocals and he pans one hard, one left. There's nothing in the center though. So I really wanted to copy that vibe for this, but what I did is I recorded it. I recorded it on this awful microphone. I don't know if you can see this. It's like a $20 digital reference microphone, and basically the deal with that is it just sounded like terrible. So what the very first thing I did when I revived this song out of the graveyard where it was for the last 5 years is I went and I re-recorded everything with this Audio Technica PG P220. So now what we have is a cleaner lead vocal with nice high end and everything. So much time together, and the rumors went on forever. How can you say this isn't love? And what I did there is I put a little bit of auto-tune on it. Let's take the auto-tune off for a second and see how bad this sounds. We spent so much time together,
And the rumors went on forever. How can you say this isn't love?
So the auto tune is it's not awful, but this is in a lower register of my voice where it's kind of difficult to sing on pitch. So anyway, as far as the vocals go, that lead vocal is just one lead vocal the whole way through on one track, no adjustments of any kind. Um, and then, of course, we have de-esser. I put compressor on it. I put a little bit of filter delay. That's not filter delay. Put a little bit of filter delay on it as well to give it some of that, a little bit of space. So what we have when we come right into the track is we just have that. We have our classic EP sound, which is the Rhodes Lounge Lizard. I use this on everything, and I should stop using it. But classic Rhodes sound. So
We spent so much time together, and the rumors went on forever. How can you say this isn't love?
So I've taken some background vocals and I just said "This is in love" into it, and I pan them hard left and right, or so they're in their left and right tracks here. Pan left, pan right. And then what we have is I have a bell that is. I find that if you double any vocal melody with an instrument, it makes it. It just affirms everything and it makes everything sound so much better. So for that, I use the Astral Music box sound on Omnisphere for that, and that's this kind of this lo-fi sort of bell sound. Very lo-fi. Almost sounds like there's a bit crusher on there or something. Um, so that's what we have there as far as instrumentation goes. Now, when we get to the pre-chorus,
If you were walking away, what would I say to get you back?
I wanted it to open up immediately when we get to this pre-chorus, and so what I did is I hard panned, literally hard panned some distorted guitars. So I just slapped some power chords on there, and then I did some distortion, and they're a little bit out of tune, but I care? I don't fucking care. So anyway, I also added a pad, which I believe is Diva. I used the Darkestra sound in Diva, which looks like this. Darkestra. Let's see what that sounds like if I give it a little go here on my musical keyboard. So yeah, I wanted all this stuff to open up, and then most importantly, I believe this clean guitar, just this nice big strum. And that's just some big open chords there. They're not open, but they sound open. And I put a little bit of chorus on this. Everything I run my guitars through, I use Guitar Rig 5. So shout out to Branks. This is Branks from Xmag who hooked me up. He showed me some of these plugins, and Xander from Yam Yam who showed me the Diva plugin, and Branks who showed me Drum Lab, and I think I had figured out Guitar Rig at this point, but Drum Lab was really important and huge change I think for me to my production. If you don't know Xmag, go listen to any Xmag song, dude. This dude is a genius, and his production is unmatched, I think. So great producer. Shout out Branks, Dave, and Xander from Yam Yam. So that's where I get my plugins from, or at least they're the ones that showed me, and I did the legwork here for legal purposes. Anyway, so we have these clean sounds, and we have these chugging guitars, and it adds to our landscape there a little bit. So we go through the chorus.
Every time we get into these crazy phase, kiss you from right, baby.
Another thing that was really kind of annoying with mixing this, and it was the biggest thing that I wanted to retrack these damn lead vocals, was because I needed to get it so that my background vocals, right, which are the original background vocals, I only retracked the lead vocals, but is
Every time we get into these crazy phase, kiss you from right, baby.
those two lyrics, can't see wrong from right, I don't know what's right. I really needed there to be some sort of like distinction between these two sounds, because otherwise you listen to it, it all hits you at once, and it's just kind of like blah, blah, blah. It's like garbled. So it took a long time trying to EQ to get these to separate in a way that I liked. Anyway, moving forward.
If I had given it a chance, maybe we'd dance like it's not so bad.
I wanted to be kind of lazy with my vocal delivery on all of this, but
So bad.
so there's a couple vocals in there, but some of them are not even really on pitch. It's just meant to be this group of people being like, "Hey, it's not so bad." Anyway, so we go forward and we have this clean guitar solo, which I will admit,
Not so bad.
so this was just one take. I literally plugged in my guitar and found a very distorted sound and just played through it and was like, I want this to be the most jarring 1975-esque guitar solo that I can put over this groove. And I got one take, and I had this great idea at the end. Just to do all the natural harmonics. This is tuned to half step down, by the way. And I was like, damn, I can't believe I came up with that on the first take. It was the first take, so I'm proud of that. First take, Tony, over here. Anyway, and then what I did later is I took the distortion off and I replaced it with a relatively clean sound. So there's some chorus on there. Again, there's some rotary on there, I believe. So, cool guitar solo in my opinion. Yeah, so we go into our second verse. I had a big vision for what I wanted the lyrics in the second verse to be if I ever made a music video with this. I don't know if that's gonna happen because I'm a broke bitch, but anyway. So we go on. I change the lyrics every time we come into this pre-chorus.
If I would stare into space, what could you say to get me back?
And so forth. So anyway, we come out of that second chorus. What I wanted to happen here, and this was difficult to do because with Drum Lab and with anything that's like programmed drums, I feel like you can't get the idea across. And this was finger drums, by the way. So all the drumming on this, I did play it live. I just didn't have a drum kit to record on where I was living at the time that sounded good. So I just finger drummed my way through it. And basically what I wanted to do was I wanted to have there be, and you can hear it in the bells. You can hear this. I'm going to solo my drums and my bells together. First of all, we have the switch. So it switches to these acoustic drums. But notice how the bells are kind of off time. We have this So it's like, this is a 5/4 kind of thing. Ba do ga do ga do ga do. So I wanted to put that in as a little like as a Easter egg for music people, if they even noticed it, if I even got the effect across right. So for any drummers that I ask to play this song on a gig, I'm gonna ask you to reinterpret the bridge in your own 5-tuplet sort of way. I could even hear like that kind of thing. But anyway, so that's the vibe there. We switch over to acoustic drums, and then when we get to this final chorus,
So if I stand in your way, what would you say? Would you push me back? And if I fell out of place,
some of these drum fills were kind of fun to play. Bada boom boom ba, bada boom boom ba. Let's see.
would you push me back?
Okay, I don't do it there, but there's one point where I do this fadaladum. It's like a Led Zeppelin homage to Led Zeppelin there. But anyway, so what I've done is at this point I've cranked up the drum. Did I? I don't know. I cranked up something. I want to believe. Oh, I turned on the drum bus that was going to the acoustic drums, so it could just have a little bit more push on it, and this could feel a little bit more distorted and bigger than these previous choruses. Because otherwise, the instrumentation doesn't change. Literally, these keyboards, as I noticed I was working on it, are just copy pasted the whole way through, essentially. The only part that I overdubbed and re-added was, I think, in the bridge when I realized it was a little off. And so when I was reviving this out of the graveyard, I went through and I shifted some of these drums, and then what I did, as you can tell with my bass, I went and I re-shifted every bass note so that it could line up with the kick drums, because that's the only thing that matters, really. And then I believe I did a little tiny bit of that with the electric chugging guitars here. But beyond that, I didn't do much with it. And then, so we get to the end. What I did here.
time I wanna say you didn't care. You've always been right there, baby.
I wanted my keys to come up just a hair because they become the solo instrument under the line, "You've always been right there."
You didn't care. You've always been right there, baby.
And so those come up. Everything else cuts out. I think maybe even the reverb. Maybe not. I don't know. I thought at one point I had the reverb cutting out. Anyway, so the track finishes.
Know for sure.
And then what I did months ago was, or years ago rather, is I pitch shifted everything down from the bounce that was from 2023, and had it fade in, fade out. You know, I just wanted a little bit of this sort of this canvas effect to be happening at the end. So did I cover everything? I was pretty brief about everything, but for the most part, with my bass, I just went DI in, so I didn't do any kind of amp effect or anything. It's just the straight bass with no any kind of effects, really. It was a pretty well performed bass take, so I didn't have to worry about that. The guitars, guitar rig, the EP is the Lounge Lizard. We have Omnisphere and we have Diva at play here, and then as far as everything else goes, these original vocals are pretty badly recorded, but I did not want to try and retrack them because the inflection that I was using vocally on this was really strange and hard to replicate a year later or 3 years later when I tried to make the lead vocal be a thing. So anyway, that's the song This Isn't Love. I'm going to do this for every track that I put out in the future, just because I think it's important that we show the process, and I have to unfortunately prove that this isn't AI. I will never use AI in my projects. I will never use AI in my music, yada, yada, yada. I already gave the spiel last time. But, and go check out that video. It's Reach by Winter Parks. I did a breakdown on my YouTube as well. So here it is. This Isn't Love. This is the tune. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. It is on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. It's on all the places you listen to music. This has been a track breakdown with Winter Parks. Peace out.